Hi, it's Rivers Corbett, and this is the HeadSpace for Entrepreneurs podcast. I am just honored to be your host, where we talk to entrepreneurs from around the planet who are real rock stars. That's my commitment to you, to bring rock stars to you. And today is no different. But before we get started talking to Catalina, I want to just give thanks to our sponsor, which is Deep Work Sprints. Every day, Deep Work Sprints takes entrepreneurs, has them focused on deep work for a 100-minute time period every morning, 5 days out of the week. And I got to tell you, it has sure been instrumental in me growing my business, cheftorial.com. And if you're interested in Deep Work Sprints, you just check them out at deepworksprints.com. Mention the word HeadSpace for Entrepreneurs, and they're going to put $50 in your hand, which can then be given back to them towards your membership. So deepworksprints.com. And today I'm really excited to connect with Catalina Vio. Catalina and I have just known each other for a short period of time, but the one thing that's really synonymous with the two of us is the spirit of starting and growing businesses that zag, particularly because of what's happened in COVID. Now, her business has been around before COVID, but we met through a LinkedIn conversation with our friend Julia, mutual conversation. And I'm always on the lookout. I said, "Oh, that's so cool. She's so cool. I want to connect with her." So that's what I did. And Catalina and I have joined a business relationship that's evolved, and I think it's important to tell her story. So Catalina Vio, welcome to the HeadSpace for Entrepreneurs podcast, where we're going to talk about your business, MDRN Photobooth.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the show.
Yeah, well, it's great to have you. And I know the energy is there. I know it's funny. We were just, before we get started here, folks, there was this background that she had, and she twisted changes around. Like this woman is color plus. So, and I think you're going to love. Yeah, that's right. It's all awesome. And so, Catalina, I want you to take us on your journey of when you started MDRN Photobooth, because it's a fun journey where you ultimately said, that's what I'm going to buy and take it back home. It really is. I love this story. I've told this story again. Maybe say 12 times about how you did that with your. I'm not going to ruin it. So tell us the story of the aha moment. You went, I think it was Las Vegas. You went to, and blah blah blah. So go for it, my friend.
So I think there's one part that I may have left out the last time, and I don't know if I told you this, because it's kind of a funny part too. But before any of all of this happened, I, for fun, went to a psychic, and literally just for fun, because one of my friends was going, and I'm like, I'll tag along. And I said to her, should I go on this trip to Vegas? Because like I had told you before, I was a wedding photographer. I was just getting out of kind of working with somebody else, and I was going to go out on my own. And I was having a hard time trying to figure out how to actually make money as a wedding photographer. Because let me tell you, wedding photographers, people are like, oh, they charge $3,000. When they charge $3,000, they are not making money.
Yeah.
People don't understand how many hours. It's not just the 8 hours at the wedding. It's the editing, It's the product, it's everything. So, I'm looking at this from like an entrepreneur's mind going, why do people do this for $3,000? Like, you're not making cash. Yeah. So, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this expo in Vegas, which is all about wedding photography, to learn how to make actual money as a wedding photographer, because I love photography. But I couldn't really afford to go back then. So like I said, I went to this psychic.
So give us a sense of how long ago was that, Catalina?
Oh, this was like 8 years ago, 2013-ish, around there. Yeah.
So you didn't have money, so you went to a psychic.
Well, the psychic was kind of, like I said, a friend had gone and kind of took me with her. So I'm like, why not? I'll give it a try, And I talked to this person and literally just asked her, I'm like, should I go? Like, I can't afford to go. I really want to go. And she's like, you need to go. I'm like, oh, okay. She's like, this is going to be the, a very pinnacle thing for you. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that funny? We'll listen to a psychic, but we won't listen to our best friends or our parents. Give me the
I know.
psychic who says they're a psychic. You need to go. That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't say much out. There's a couple of other things that, surprisingly have actually worked out now that I think about it. But
Yes.
nonetheless, I took it with a grain of salt and I was like, well, whatever. The psychic told me to go. I should go then, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I
Absolutely.
went.
Cool.
I had, like I said, no money really to go. Split the hotel room between two friends. We stayed at the wonderful Excalibur Hotel, which I'm
Nice.
sure if you've been there,
What a
it's not that
battlefield.
wonderful. $60 a night, split 3 ways. So that was fun.
Yeah. Nice.
And I got a free expo pass from one of the vendors. Cause you can
okay.
go see a lot of the speakers on the floor. Back then, this trade show was huge and all the speakers were on the floor doing like mini versions of their talk. So I really went the budget route.
Right.
But I'm walking the floor and I'm looking at all this really cool photography stuff that I had never even known existed. And I stumbled on this photo booth, trade show booth. And I was like, what in the world is this? So my friend and I jumped in, took a photo, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like a mobile studio. It's beautiful. It's modern. It like prints on the spot. This is unlike any other photo booth I've ever seen in my life. I actually hated photo booths before. I would never go near them because I don't know whose head that hat's been on or where any of these props have been. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The picture quality you got was never good. Like it was a kind of like half-assed strip that was badly designed in like Word or something. Like it was really bad. So I never viewed photo booths as something that I ever wanted to do until I saw this one. And this one, like,
and after all, you're a professional wedding photographer. You have standards, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And I have a very minimalist, aesthetic that I like to go for just in general. Like I was mentioning, my wardrobe is mostly black. Like I think I own a couple of very baby pink shirts maybe, but for the most part, it's black and white. So
love it. Love it.
Yeah. Again, I still had no money and I saw this thing though, but it clicked in my head. I saw an opportunity. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do for photography. I can offer photography at events. I was going through all of the numbers. I started researching everything and I called my husband and I'm like, I found this business idea, and he's always been so supportive. He's like, if you think this is going to work, do it. And I'm like, how?
Nice. Is he an entrepreneur?
He is. Yes. He's actually a chef. So,
this is very interesting. Love it.
He ran his restaurants for a while.
Love it. Okay, cool. Love it. Let's keep going. I love this conversation.
So he said, do it. And I, again, had no idea. And back then, like this machine was like 8,000 US, which was like 13 grand Canadian or something like that. Right. And that's not even including duties or customs or shipping or anything like that. And I had an emergency card that my parents had given me. Mind you, I'm in my later 20s. I shouldn't have an emergency card at this point. Like there should be no lifeline to parents when you're in your late 20s. At least not for me.
Yeah, but Kat, it's like I was saying to somebody during Christmas. Look, I believed in Santa Claus till I was about 16 because the deals were working well for me at that point in time. So it worked for you. So you ran with it. I love it.
Exactly. I mean, opportunity was there. So I had this American Express that had no limit. As far as I knew, because it was like my parents' emergency card. So I put the full photo booth onto that card. And I'm like, well, I have 30 days to figure this one out. Either explain to my parents and beg for forgiveness or pay it off within those, 30 days. So it actually took about 6 weeks to have the photo booth built because they hand built them back then. And so I had 6 weeks to start a business. And I ran home and just, started building a website and branding and started just doing an Instagram account and everything I could, because when it clicks, it just, you just know what to do for some reason, or at least you think you do.
Yeah. And you get the energy behind it too, because you're excited about it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it went off really well. So, opened an Instagram account, started telling all my friends and family about it. And people were like ecstatic about the idea. And when I started showing them samples of what the photo booth looked like and how beautiful the print quality was, we started getting bookings right away. We didn't even have a photo booth and I already had bookings. And it just, our first year we did something like 70 events, I think. And then it just kept growing and growing. And, we were running this out of, the photo booth literally lived in the front closet of our house for the first year and a half. It took over our house eventually, and, and it was my husband and I just running it. So we had like props everywhere. We had photo booths in our closet. We had, paper and backdrops and all this other stuff. And I still
you moved
from,
so you moved from one photo booth.
Yes.
Were you nervous that it wasn't going to get through customs in time? Because and did you tell your parents you actually used their card before the 6 week was up?
Well, so they found out quite faster than I had anticipated. But luckily we were getting bookings, so I was able to like give them cash, And the nice thing was that because we were offering such a specialized style of photo booth, it was very, very high end, very much a portable studio rather than just and it was stylized. We had beautiful backdrops and really well curated props. And even the designs on our photo booth templates were like the print that you get were well designed, not just like, here's a name on a really bad background. So people saw the value in this. And, my first package was $975 for 2 hours.
Wow.
So in 6 hours, I could make the same amount of money as I would working 8 hours shooting a wedding plus the 40 hours to edit it.
Crazy.
It really made sense.
But you found a niche within a niche, and there's a couple of lessons here that are coming through with me. The first one is that you knew what you didn't want because of your credentials and your background for a photo booth to be. So you were able to take the best photo booth experience like no one has ever had an experience before, and that was a differentiator. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, cool. And then the second thing is that you just dove in and you made it happen. And sometimes, and I like your opinion on this, sometimes is it, based on your research, is it just, you just throw caution to the wind and say, well, screw it, it's only $15,000. It's not going to kill me. And my parents aren't going to kill me. They love me. Where's your risk tolerance in doing that you went to that point and said, I'm going to take this on, because it's against the traditional form of what you would usually do for photography.
Yeah, definitely. And I will say that my risk tolerance when it comes to spending money is probably a little bit more liberal than most people are comfortable with. Oftentimes I have to ask my husband, am I crazy in spending this? But he's always been if you're investing in your own business or you're investing in yourself, can you go wrong? And really that is one thing I think people don't realize. And I think when you get over that hurdle, you'll kind of see that a lot more things open. It's the fear that's always keeping people back, right?
Totally it is. So thank you for saying that. I'm going through that myself right now and pushing myself up to a new level that I've never been at, and I'm excited about it. But it's amazing how those little devils on your shoulder show up as you're about to make this decision, which isn't a big decision. It's just a new decision to take you to that next level. So I want to, and I told you I would take you down a few rabbit holes, so this is going to be one of them. Besides Jeff, what's your husband's name?
His name is Darren.
Darren. Okay. So how do you and Darren operate as partners, as a couple, husband and wife, as entrepreneurs? Because that's things such as, my spouse is an entrepreneur and I can't handle it, and then so on and so on. I'm in a relationship now where we're both entrepreneurs and I freaking love it. So what's your thought process on making a marriage work as two entrepreneurs? And because there's people out there that are like that, and I'm one going to lean in. I want to learn from you also.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out. We were both kind of like that when we first met. We met 11, 12 years ago now.
Right.
13 years ago. Time flies. But when we met, we both were very hardworking people. And at the time, we didn't really have, our side hustles or anything like that. And my husband actually went from working in a restaurant to owning his own restaurant almost overnight. Like one day he just said, okay, I'm done with this. And then he bought his own a little bistro and then started doing catering and, it was doing really well. And I had my business and we were both growing our businesses. But I think it's just that we have the same drive and, the support from each other. So I'd help him with a lot of his like technical stuff, like website and social media. Like he hates social media.
Yeah, right.
But I love it. So, I'd help him with that and he'd help me with like stuff for the business. And even still, like even now he's sold his businesses or he's a stay-at-home dad right now.
Oh, nice. And, okay,
cool. But still to this day, like we do all the decisions for the PhotoBooth company together, right? Because he might not be here every day in the office, but he's part of every single decision that we make for this company and the direction it goes in.
Yeah, well, it's a special situation when you can find that professional mix with the personal mix. And again, I know with my partner Amanda, it's so cool to just have conversations, and because we enjoy the topics. Whether it doesn't have to be sports, it doesn't have to be science. That's what we enjoy talking about, and I think that's part of the deal. So you went from one photo booth to how many before COVID hit?
Oh my goodness. Well, we bought our second one within 6 months of buying our first one. And then the business kind of like really started taking on, like we just doubled year over year. And right before COVID hit, I think we're up to like 30 some different photo booths now. We have an office here in Ottawa. We have one in Toronto. We have a satellite office in Halifax and one in an office in Calgary as well. So we do service across Canada for physical and virtual events now, obviously, since we've had to pivot. Right now, our equipment is just taking up a lot of space in our warehouse. But that's okay. We're going to, give them break the need that it needs for this COVID until the live events come back. But we have fully pivoted to virtual with, trying to apply the same experience that people know and kind of had experienced in a photo booth at a live event and brought that to a virtual world, but then also trying to bring something that's new, because we all know with virtual events, it's all about, interaction and getting up and moving and not just staring at your screen and actually doing something. So even after launching our virtual booth product, at first we were like, well, here's our photo booth. And then we're like, this isn't enough. It needs to be interactive. And so we're constantly trying to develop new ways of making it very interactive and engaging for people when they are doing a virtual event, so that it's just another element similar to like, your chef tutorials. I just got off a call with one of your clients actually, and she was saying how much people absolutely loved, doing these chef tutorials and like getting up and doing them, and people were going all out. So like, we want people to have that experience with our product as well. We want people to talk about our product like that too. So yeah.
Well, that's, and so I know your customers are talking about it, because after I learned about what you were doing, I sure the heck was talking about it. I formed a business relationship for you. So with you, sorry, not for you, so that we could collaborate together. So somebody's leaning in here now and they're saying, come on, Kat, how are you taking a photo booth experience and bring it online? Kind of dive into those, one or two nuggets that are going to say, oh crap, I better check this out.
Yeah. So the number one question we always got asked are like, how is this different from a selfie? And it's, a lot of it has to do with like, everyone takes selfies or can take selfies, but they don't necessarily do. Like, when was the last time you just randomly took a selfie while you were in a meeting? Like, people don't do that. And there needs to be like, no, and there also needs to be like a reason, and it has to be an experience that people can't get. So some of our most successful in-person photo booths are like our video activations. We have this one that's called a 360 video booth, where a camera rotates around you in slow motion, and we add music and intros and outros, and it's really like a Hollywood style, like cinematic experience, and people go crazy for it, right? Because it's an experience. And so we're trying to do the same thing with a virtual photo booth. And what we ended up coming up with is we found a bunch of different ways that we were able to bring the experience to people's mobile devices and adding a little bit more. So it's not just a selfie. You know, we have tons of branding capabilities. So a lot of times, like if people come to us and it's like some of our clients who we've worked with in the past, or people like Nike or like bigger banks or anything like that, that they're heavy on branding. They want to make sure that everything they do has a lot of branding. So we have a lot of branding capabilities. We can automatically apply an overlay, and that's not generally the most exciting part, but then they can add stickers. So you can take this photo and you can add all these little stickers to it. Or we can do a boomerang where we add like music, and then you end up with this mini music video that, you know, people want to post to social because they did it on their phone, but you know, it's a bit different than anything they could have ever created because not everyone's super tech savvy. And so this just simplifies the entire process while bringing all these pictures into one live gallery. So you actually end up with a digital album of your entire virtual event. And we try to make it a bit more interactive by getting people to do stuff in the photo booth. So we'll do like a scavenger hunt and be like, go find these 5 things and take a photo in the photo booth with these 5 things when you found them. And then we have prizes that can automatically be given out through the photo booth. And we have a little scratch card that you actually have to physically scratch.
Yeah, like, I remember you sharing that with me. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. And people love that because they have a chance to win. They'll keep coming back until they win. And, you know, we can set how often people win. Like, is it 1%? Is it 50% of the time? Like, it really just depends on the event that we're doing. So there's just a lot of capabilities for the virtual experience to get people engaged and taking their photo.
Yeah, sorry, Kat, to interrupt. You keep referring to they come back and go to the photo booth. But it's not a photo booth. It's the virtual photo booth.
You're right. And I don't think I'll ever step away from calling it a photo booth, but you're right. It is. It's just a URL, but we've programmed the experience to take them through the steps, right? So there is an experience that they go through where it's like, here's your start screen. Now select what kind of experience you want. You want a photo, you want a gift, you want a boomerang, and then they can pick from different overlays. We have different filters. Once they've taken their photo, it actually removes whatever messy background you have. So everyone's, zooming from their kitchen or from their living room. You never know what you're going to get. So our software actually seamlessly takes out the backdrop, leaves you. And then we replace the background with whatever image you want. So it can be like an actual beach scene, or we can do like a nice photo somewhere, or just a graphic. It really depends on the type of event. But then it actually kind of brings back a bit of that semblance and the aesthetic in the live gallery, let's say. So when at the end of the night, when you look at it, everyone's going to have the same background as if they were actually in the photo booth that would have had a background in real life.
Fun. A couple of questions come from this. One is there's obviously some level of technical training that would happen with the organizer of the event. Is there a format you use and take them through photo booth school and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, we try to make this as simple as possible for all of our clients, and we're constantly looking back at our events and saying, like, how can we do this better? How can we service our clients better? We actually give everyone a kit. So when their event is about to go live, we send them a kit and explain to them, like, this is how you can get the most engagement out of your photo booth. We always try to be part of the entire process. So the important part is that a lot of people, even in live events, the photo booth was always an afterthought, and they just kind of throw you in the corner.
Yep.
When we started telling people, like, hey, how about you put us in the front hallway? And then they ended up with these galleries with like 800 pictures. They're like, oh my God, this was amazing. It's like, yeah, because people saw us, they knew
totally
we were there.
Happened.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many dark corners we've been put in, but now we're proactive about it, right? So it's the same thing in the virtual world. You have to explain to planners what to do with a virtual booth.
That's so cool. What was the other question I have? Oh yeah, I'm interested in your business development process. You've been doing this for a while, and you've had a cool journey and interesting lifestyle and all that kind of stuff. But what are some key nuggets, hacks that you use to develop relationships with potential clients? Not necessarily on how you ultimately get them across the line where they're paying you, but where that relationship is developed, it's solid, you're talking to the right person. Can you talk about some of the strategies you use?
Yeah. I need to rewind a little bit and give you some background information from me.
Okay.
I spent 14 years in the corporate world, in insurance specifically, and in sales, not selling car insurance, but I worked in business development for some of Canada's largest insurance companies, which meant that I got tons and tons of sales training that I absolutely despised. I couldn't believe any of the stuff that they were telling me. And I'm like, if anyone came to me and said this, I would just look at them and turn around and walk away. And like, it was literally the worst sales training I'd ever had in my entire life. So I kind of,
Oh, so now I know why you're successful. You did what they told you not, you didn't do what they told you to do.
Yeah, it wasn't until my last year that we had this one leader that came in and, he started coaching people on the art of essentially not selling. And this was something that really resonated with me, because I feel like you build a relationship with people and they will come to you when they're ready to come to you, right? You can't be pressuring people. But I think what's important is education and being of service to people, because we are all, in the event business. But just because I know something doesn't mean that anyone, like somebody else might know it. Like, sure, we know a lot about virtual events and how to integrate with different virtual platforms, but I can't tell you how many of our planners have never even heard that there's more than one virtual platform other than Zoom, for example. Like they have no idea that there's like these 3D sim worlds that you can do, or like, all these other programs. So I think sharing knowledge is very, very important with your community, and being present and being part of, networking constantly, and just always being of service to everyone around you. It builds trust, first of all, but then people are more inclined to come to you when they actually, need a service or have a question, really. And so it's not really that I've learned this so much as that's just kind of like what I've always believed in, and just, making sure that I'm with like-minded people and that we're constantly trying to raise each other up. Like, I can't tell you how many of my past clients whose, businesses have also kind of disappeared. We've just formed such better relationships by helping each other out, whether it's like me giving them marketing tips or like maybe helping them out with some photography, and then they refer me clients or whatever, but it's a mutually beneficial relationship. And I don't know if that is really a form of selling, or
no, it's but it's but remember, my question was about relationship development, and that's why it fits so well. And it's a couple of things come out of that reference point. I know when I started Cheftorial, I keyed in on those people that were playing in the virtual event space as where our opportunity is. And I can't tell you, I've had, including yourself, met the most amazing people, wonderful hearts. Just give. We got this, even though we're crying and fighting along the way because of all the crap we're having to deal with. It's just such a giving, hopeful community, and that you enjoy hanging out with. And of course, as entrepreneurs, isn't that great? We have a choice to hang out who we want to date. So it's so cool to be able to do that. And they pay us money sometimes. So that's one thing. And the other one is that, I'm reading a book called "It's the Greatest Salesman in the World," written by Og Mandino many years ago. And it's about principles of success and so on. But he said, but the one thing he said that you must have in order to be successful amongst all of that is a foundation of love, a foundation of giving, foundation of caring. And then you just reinforce that point about helping, and it'll come around. But if you don't have that foundation of that principle, then it's not going to work for you. So thank you for bringing that. So I've this is being recorded January the 5th, 2021. We turn the corner. I know where I'm going with Cheftorial in the next 6 months. Where are you taking your business in the next 6 months? Is there anything that's kind of like, whoa, watch out, this is what's happening?
Well, I mean, we're always playing around over here. That's probably one of the things I can't ever stop playing with tech. I love tech. I love, learning
Cool.
new stuff. So, I mean, we're still expanding our virtual booth offerings, whether it's like a digital mosaic, live broadcasting the images, the slideshows, that kind of stuff. And we're playing around with some VR tech as well. We've been really diving into Instagram filters and creating augmented reality with Instagram filters and gamification and that kind of stuff, because you can reach such a broader audience, and depending on what your target market is, like Instagram might be a really good avenue for a lot of people to be able to reach masses. Like we just did a New Year's Eve Instagram filter that had a couple of like fun props and some fireworks going on in the background. It got something like 45,000 impressions in one day.
Brilliant. Go figure, right?
I know. So yeah, that's the big thing we're working on right now, and trying to bring in some 3D photography and meld that with Instagram filters and augmented reality and that kind of stuff.
Good for you. Where did you come up with the name MDRN? And why I haven't mentioned it up to this point is because I don't want to get the letters mixed up. So why MDRN Photobooth?
So it's actually we're called Modern Photobooth, but back then we just took out all the vowels to make it even more modern. And then we turned into MDRN.
I'm so I can't tell you how happy I am to hear this, because it's like you're on the you're the queen, you're the emperor of Creative Planet, and I see this MDRN Photobooth, and I'm like, what? That's like Bob's Plumbing.
Yeah, no, it's actually modern. We're so modern. We don't have vowels.
Thank you. Oh, that's even better. I love it. Oh, I'm so glad I asked that question. That's a great story. Yeah, I love it. Well, listen, Catalina, VO, this has been an amazing conversation. And so I always say, we're entrepreneurs. I am totally about helping you make money. Give us how does somebody get a hold of Modern Photobooth, you, and so on, because of course people want to hang out with you.
Yeah, you can always visit us on our website, which is MDRN Photoboothcompany.com. We are on Instagram, we're on Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, you name it. Just type in MDRN Photobooth. We will be there. And you can always email me at Catalina@MDRNphotobooth.com as well. We love to chat and brainstorm. So like, even if you don't have an event, but you kind of have an idea, like just reach out to us. We thrive off of crazy and unseen things. So we really like to invent.
Well, I for one am looking forward to hanging out with you this year and seeing where our journey goes. We got a lot of cool things happening, so that's going to be great. And thank you so much for your time today. So appreciated.
Thank you, and you have a great day.
You too.
Bye.